Hi there, Miranda Alt here with Keller Williams Success Real Estate and the Miranda Alt team with your Monday market update for Monday, September 11th, 2023. Thank you so much for watching. And yes, today is 9/11. It sort of feels that way outside. It's a sort of a gloomy day here, and it is a never forget kind of a day. Hopefully you are doing something today in remembrance of those who lost their lives this day 22 years ago. Taking a quick look at our McHenry County numbers for the last 7 days, we had 133 new listings. We had 130 go under contract, so less going under contract than we had newly listed. 82 closed sales, 47 price changes, 2 expired, and 49 currently on the private network. So we just still don't have a whole lot going on, period, in the real estate market. We don't have a whole lot of new listings compared to normal years, what we would call normal years, pre-pandemic years. We don't have a lot of new listings. We don't have a lot going under contract. We don't have a lot of closed sales. We just have less homes being transacted on overall. Now, if you recall, some of the statistics I've talked about in weeks past is that in 2021, we had the greatest year for real estate that we'd ever had before. We had 6.2 million homes sold nationwide. The year after, in 2022, we had the second best year that we'd ever had, and we sold 5.2 million homes. And this year, we're expected to have a year very similar to the year before COVID, or the year before the pandemic, 2019, 2020, where we sold 4.1 million homes. Now, this is actually a low number for us to be selling. Now, I told you I went to Mega Camp with Gary Keller speaking on stage at the Keller Williams conference that we had a couple of weeks ago. And Gary Keller's forecast was that 4.3 million homes is not a great year, but it's probably as bad as it's going to get, just for the sheer number of people that are going to have to move. We've talked about this many times before. The reason that people move is a motivation having to do with a life event, typically. In a normal market, we have people moving because they get married, they get divorced, they have babies, somebody dies. Those are the things that cause people to move. Job transfers, and all of those things are going to continue to happen. Now, what's happened in the last year is that we've got people locked in with these golden handcuffs. I was watching a CNBC piece a little bit ago with Ron Insana, who was talking about how the feds have created a post-COVID residential real estate lockdown, meaning that so many people are locked into these low rates that they don't want to give up, and they're not putting their house on the market, and they're not moving, regardless of some life changes. I know of many people who have not moved even though they've wanted to, even though they've had more kids, they've outgrown their house, and normally they would move, but man, they just don't want to give up that 3% interest rate. So what we have to do is talk to people about, and that's fair. I mean, that is a fair point, to not want to move and leave your low interest rate. But, it's my job as a real estate professional to chat with my clients and talk to them about what's the better choice for them. And for some people, regardless of the interest rate, it's still a better decision to move. I still have a lot of clients that are still deciding, even though they're giving up a lower interest rate, or first-time home buyers, keep in mind, if you're renting, you're paying 100% interest rate. You're not paying down any equity at all. You're paying somebody else's mortgage. So we've got a lot of people that are still first-time home buyers, because it's still better for them to buy a house than it is to continue renting. Now, that brings us to another point that Lawrence Yun made today on LinkedIn. He posted something talking about rental vacancies that are up nationwide, largely due to a 40-year high in multifamily housing starts. So we have more apartment buildings being built. It's happening here in Crystal Lake. There's a building going up in downtown Crystal Lake that's going to be all rentals. We had another big building built behind the Walmart in Crystal Lake. That provided a lot of housing. So as we have more and more rentals available, if there's vacancy, meaning there's more supply than there is demand, what's going to happen? Prices are going to come down. So if rental prices come down, that might help us out a little bit in the housing situation, because people might not be as antsy to get a first house and get their own property if there's a rental available and it's more affordable. Part of the reason we've had more and more people moving to buying a house is because it just became flat out too expensive to rent. So, all of these economic things rely on the age-old economic principle of supply and demand. When supply is low and demand is high, prices are going to go up. When supply is high and demand is low, prices are going to go down. Now, we have a very low supply in the residential housing sector. We have high demand, even though interest rates are going up, Because as I said, a lot of people are first-time home buyers, and those are the people that are driving this whole thing. And unless we have more and more residential homes being built, we are going to continue to have this issue. Now, a sidebar to that is that if we do end up getting more and more residential rental availability, that might bring some of that demand down on buying homes if some of those rents can come down. So this all fits together, because if you think about it, how people live and what they're spending on their housing all affects our economy, and they're all tied together. Rents are tied to sales. Sales are tied to long-term gains and the overall state of our housing industry. So we've got some other things happening right now. We've got the Fed's meeting on September 19th and 20th. I talked to a banker this past week who thinks that the Feds are going to raise the rates at least 4 more times. Hope he's wrong. We made a gentleman's bet. I'm hoping that I win and that he's wrong and that they don't raise interest rates on the 20th, but he's pretty convinced that they will. There's an interesting thing happened, and they were talking about this on CNBC as well, that the Feds are raising interest rates in an effort to bring housing prices down. But by raising interest rates, they're actually having the reverse effect, and they're making prices go up because people are tied to their houses and they don't want to move. So one of the things they were talking about on CNBC is, if the Fed, it's sort of counterintuitive for the Feds to continue raising interest rates. They're actually forcing people to stay in their homes and not move, which is causing supply to continue to be low while demand remains high. So therefore, housing is getting even more expensive by the day. We're seeing prices going up all over the place. I'm having buyers that are getting completely priced out of what they want. I have a buyer that was looking at $350,000 for the last 6 months. She got a property locked in. It didn't appraise. She canceled the deal. And now we've been looking, and she can't find anything that she likes in her price point. She can't find anything. We went and looked at some houses in Algonquin last week, and it's like, these houses are crap compared to what you were looking at 6 months ago, because prices have just gone up. So things are getting more and more expensive. So the Feds keep raising these rates, which keeps current homeowners locked in. Remember, over 75% of current homeowners those with a mortgage are locked in at 4% or below. Now, if you want to talk about homeowners locked in at 5 or 6%, you've got people over 95% of the population of people who have loans are locked in under 6%. So who wants to move when the rates are 7 and 8, and if they get to 9%, that's going to be nobody. The only people who are going to be moving are people who absolutely have to. They have no choice. So we'll see what the Feds do on September 19th and 20th. If they stop raising rates, we actually might see interest rates come down a little bit, or at least hold steady. Because remember, the Feds raise the prime rate. That does not directly correlate to the mortgage rate. It does eventually trickle down to affecting the mortgage rate, but the federal government does not dictate what the mortgage rates, what the bonds are traded at, but it does all correlate. But if the Feds do not raise interest rates and they hold still, we might see interest rates come down as we head into a recession in the beginning of 2024. If that happens, I think initially we'll see a huge surge in prices, because anybody that's been looking is going to try and lock in at a lower rate. They're going to see rates come down, and they're going to flood into the market, and they're going to lock everything down, and prices are going to go up. But long term, if interest rates can come down, a lot of those people that are sitting on these lower interest rates might be willing to give them up if they can get something in the 5s or the 6s. That will seem pretty attractive to people, and they might jump on that opportunity. So we might get a whole influx of supply, which would be great. So we're still dealing with this, inflation, interest rates, inventory issue, the 3 I's I've been talking about, and those things have just been such difficult issues to overcome. Affordability is becoming so difficult for people. We have so many people who just simply cannot afford housing. The federal government raising these prime rates is just causing this squeeze on the lower middle class, and it's causing a real problem for them. So hopefully September 19th and 20th, we're going to see the Feds be nice, but I'm not going to hold my breath. I'm Miranda Alt with Keller Williams Success Real Estate and the Miranda Alt team. Thank you so much for watching. As always, if you have any questions or you want to just chat about the real estate market, please always hit me up. I'm at 815-529-0777, or you can always message me here on social media as well. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.